Hello, my name is Colleen Surratt. I'm the psychology teacher here in the social studies department, and this is a little game that I created called Stump the Teacher, which allows students to apply their information and share what they know, and it also kind of gives them a chance to play a little bit of a different game and gets them motivated in a little bit different way. So Stump the Teacher is a game I created because I was looking to find ways to get my students more engaged, but I was also looking for them to demonstrate and apply their knowledge. But as you know, we have students with a wide variety of backgrounds, so I was kind of trying to bridge some backgrounds there. I have the students generally go through a mini lesson with me or on their own, just depending on what's going on. Like might do breakout rooms, or we might finish a class with this. They might watch a video. Something along those lines. So I generally give them some kind of a choice of what to do. And then they return to class and we play Stump the Teacher. And the rules are really simple. I will ask a question. It often involves some kind of a visual, and I will read it out loud, kind of take my time as I go through it, just to give the students a chance to start thinking a little bit. And then I give them 90 seconds to choose an answer using their polling tools. So there'll be multiple choice A, B, or C, and they have 90 seconds. Sometimes on the first question, I might give them 2 minutes, just, to give them a little extra time to get into the groove of what we're doing. And I'll tell them, if you see your classmates are not answering in a way that you think is correct, respectfully let them know, hey, guys, I really think it's letter C because, this is what we learned about this approach of psychology, or something along those lines. And how the class wins the point is that they must have over half the class participate and over half the class have to have the right answer. So I'll tell them, you guys are going to need more than just half the class to answer, because if only half of you answer but not all of you are right, my point. And so if the students win, which they always have, and that's really the goal, and is hopefully that they'll win and demonstrate their knowledge, they get to brag that they stumped their teacher, and I have to tell them that they are super awesome. All right, so why did I come up with this game of Stump the Teacher? Well, I know that some of my students are really competitive. They really want to win. Other kids aren't so much. And I know that some of my students, they get really anxious about being put in, kind of singled out. So this gives the students a chance to demonstrate what they know as a team and to learn from each other. Because, someone's saying, pick letter C, this is the right answer for this reason. Oh man, that's not what I got about that approach. So they're kind of learning from each other. And it's taking pressure off those kids who, they're not quite sure of the material, or they're just not big on competition. It promotes participation because, like I said, got to have half the class answering, over half the class answering, excuse me, and over half have to have the correct answer. So the class doesn't get that point unless both parts happen. And it promotes discussion and peer learning. They're talking to each other. They're giving a letter. They're saying, hey, this is why I want you to pick letter A. Because if they'll just say pick A, I'll say, well, why? You have to tell them why you want them to pick A. And it builds confidence for my students who are less confident, who maybe are nervous, they have anxiety, they're not sure about standing out, they have a chance to be part of a group, and they're competing against me. And I'm a pretty safe person to compete against as the teacher because, it's class versus teacher. That's kind of comfortable feeling. And it's a great way for me to informally assess my students just to see how they're doing with class objectives. Maybe I see, students who are routinely answering wrong or having to be persuaded by their classmates. Might want to keep an eye on those kids, work with them in small groups or learner conferences. All right, so you ready to try it? So how I did in this particular class with the Stump the Teacher game is that I had them do a Google slide adventure and learning about 3 different approaches: neurobiology, cognitive psychology, and sociocultural psychology. And I let them choose whether they wanted to work with me in the main room on this presentation and go through it, or go down to a breakout room and go through the presentation that way. And so it gives them some differentiation. The kids who want to kind of do things on their own and move quickly, they can. The kids who'd rather have the teacher there and kind of go through and ask questions and verify it, I'm there too. And I like to pick things that they find interesting. For example, my classes usually love the show Supernatural, so this was a very supernatural themed presentation. So they went through the Google Slides. I gave them a bit of time to go through it. And then comes Stump the teacher. Now, it's important that when you do this, you want to kind of build this up as like, I'm going to take you down so that they want to take the teacher down. And of course, we know, you and I, that it's not really about that, but they don't need to know that because they'll actually want to learn. So I don't explain how we play the game until after we've gone through, but I just let them know it's coming, so you'd better pay attention. And I like to use this rather sarcastic picture of myself, you think you can beat me? And I like to use, kind of a sarcastic tone of voice. I'll say things like, "Okay, guys, it's time for you to take me down, or Remy, I'm going to take you down. And I haven't won yet, and it is my turn to win. So you guys better work hard because I want to win." And then I'll point out, now the only way you get the point is over half the class has to participate, and over half the class has to have the right answer. And I want to win. So you guys better get your teammates participating. So I really try to pump that up. We need participation to beat me. And again, I'm the teacher, so it's kind of safe for them to feel like, oh, okay, it's okay if I try to beat the teacher. So here was an example of a question that I did. In this meme, Hermione is realizing that Harry tricked Ron into changing his thinking. Which approach of psychology does this demonstrate? And so the choices are A, cognitive, B, neurobiology, or C, sociocultural. And I'll tell the kids, okay, take a look at the question. Get your polling tools ready. I'm going to give you 90 seconds, or like I said, sometimes 2 minutes on the first question to get an answer. And the kids will really encourage each other and really get involved. I mean, it's kind of a big deal. And then at the end, I always have the answer covered up, but in this case, because it's PowerPoint, I'm being a little fancier. I would look to see if the majority of students had letter A, they win the point. And generally they do, and they can kind of, oh no, remember neurobiology talks about our genetics and our DNA and our brain physiology, and this is thinking, and thinking is cognitive. So they'll really get into it. Now, my last question or second to last question is often a a question that will ask them to write. And I will tell you that I don't usually do more than 4 or 5 questions because it takes a while. I mean, 90 seconds per question or 2 minutes per question, that's 10 minutes right there. So what I'll do is I'll usually go through my objectives, and each one of my questions meets the objectives so that they can show me that they're following along. But in this case, they needed to also distinguish between we've used this graphic before, and we've talked about the approaches of psychology and how they could be nature or nurture or somewhere in the middle. So they would have to tell me, like, neurobiology, would you put that here? And why? Or would you put that here? And it's fine where they put it as long as they can justify why. And so they'll kind of get into that too, really discussing it and looking at it. So my friends, that's all. I hope that you could find this useful in your classroom. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know.